Ex-girlfriend wants to cut off our electricity? No problem. Hey, please tell me if this is inappropriate for the sub and I'll post it elsewhere. I was living with my girlfriend and a roommate, and we split the cost of every bill evenly, even though each bill was in one person's name. Well, that was the idea, but I naively helped my girlfriend pay her part of the bills, i.e., paid completely for most of them. The rent was in my name, the electricity in my girlfriend's, etc. Well, I eventually got tired of her coconut arguments, smelly gerbils, not doing chores, and we broke up. It was messy. She took ages to move out, making sure to mooch every penny she could before leaving. When she left, I immediately started a new electricity account in my name. A week later, I got a letter of confirmation in the mail, but I also received the electricity bill for the last 3 months my ex was living with us. I opened it without thinking. We couldn't even pay it if we wanted to because the bill was in her name. I shot her a text. Me, yo, you got the electricity bill in the mail. It's $120, so come pick up $40 from each of us. Ex, where's the other $40? We agreed I wouldn't pay bills after I move out. As if she did before. Me, you were still living here for the time period of the bill. Ex, this is banana. I'm not going to pay a thing. We had an agreement. Me, well, you can come over to get our part, or you can pay it alone. Ex, the way I see it, you can either bring the $120 to my place or have fun in the dark lol. Me, you got me there. At this point I realized that she doesn't know I started my own account with the electricity provider. Thought that by refusing to pay, the provider would cut our lights. Good way to mooch another $40 from us, right? But that's not quite what happened. A few weeks later, I received another letter from a LEC company with her name on it. Probably a late payment warning. I sent her a text to tell her, and she responded, lol, why are you so desperate to talk to me? You know what you have to do. Another letter came in for her. This one was probably late fees. I have to guess because I never opened them. I messaged her and she said, I thought I told you to never talk to me again. As you wish, mom. More letters arrived, but from a new address. I googled the new sender's address and found that they were debt collectors. Scary stuff. It's too bad I couldn't say a word to her. Now about 2 or 3 months later, I received a phone call from my ex and I'm greeted by what the fuck these people are calling my parents' house. I've got all these late fees bar debt collectors. I told her if she wants our part of the bill, she knows what to do. Smile. Realizing that she had no other choice, she caved and came for the money. My roommate and I didn't give her a cent toward late fees, and I probably looked so banana smug giving her my money for the last time. Edit, lots of people are saying I shouldn't have given her a cent. As you/Shell Chang eloquently put it, not paying it would be a coconut move. Way more satisfaction in letting someone else get screwed while you play by all the rules. Honestly, what did she think would happen? It was in her name. She is just lucky that you were honest enough to switch the account to your name. You could have just left it be if you were a bad sort. But it was really stupid of her not to cancel her account at her old place.
Not to mention I was still receiving her mail, and she gave me banana for telling her she had a new letter.
This whole post reads like a lesson in how to be an adult. Op was an adult from the get-go, politely informing about issues and offering to pay his fair share up front. Op's ex was stuck in high school where being right and feeling good is more important than just solving the zucchini problem. I dated a girl for a couple of years and had a messy breakup as well. After we split, she asked for me to help pay her credit card for the groceries she bought for us. It was only about $300. I said I didn't have a problem paying for that provided she reimbursed me for half of the mortgage and utilities for the last year and a half. I had been paying 100% of those bills. Never heard from her again after that. Breakups suck, but I'll be damned if those small victories like that don't feel good.
I don't really tell this story in person because folks usually stop me and say, why were you paying all her stuff? I don't have a good answer. I was naive, I guess. Oh well, we learn.
Girlfriend at the time lived with me, and we didn't tell the landlord, because we didn't know it mattered. Split all the bills half and half. Landlord found out and was super chill, just charged her for a year of water, instead of upping our rent. She moved out after 8 months on the lease, and we broke up. She asked the landlord for half the water bill back, and he said no, it's non-refundable. Prior to that, I told her if he didn't pay it back, I'd tried to help her out. Try. Not I'm going to give you money. Later, I start seeing a new girl, so naturally I want my key back, because all of her stuff is gone. She says I can get the key back when she gets her water bill back. Landlord said okay, and stopped over the next day to change the locks for me. I probably would have tried to help her with the money if she hasn't used my key as collateral.
You should buy that landlord a case of beer, man.
I will be playing this in front of the whole class, lol. Okay. I was talking to some friends from undergrad and this story from my freshman year came up again. Second semester of my freshman year, I was taking a music theory course. Professor was very serious about her job and this class was a bit of a weed out class for students who wanted to pursue music education. I was taking it for fun. By the time the end of the semester rolled around, I got the feeling she didn't really like me much because I didn't pay attention in class but still got us on the homework/exams/playing tests. I'd played piano for a decade by this point, so she couldn't really punish me for anything since I wasn't disrupting the class, but was just a thorn in her side through lack of participation. Thank God that wasn't part of our grade. Our final project was to find a poem we liked and craft a song using the poem as the lyrics. As she passes out the requirement sheet, she announced that she would be playing these for the class, so we need to put in effort so that we don't feel embarrassed by what she plays in front of everyone, about 30 people. She shoots a glance at me, the least involved student, as she says that, which I took as a challenge. I found a poem called A Minor Bird and decided to craft my masterpiece in the key of E flat minor. The reasoning: 6 of the 7 notes are lowered a half step. So it's not a matter of thinking everything I see is lowered, it's everything but one note is lowered, which is fairly hard to keep track of while sight reading something that utilizes both hands on the piano. We were to hand them in at the beginning of class and she would go through the stack and play them, without practicing first. It's a freshman level class. How hard could it be? I spent weeks working on this because I wanted to make sure it was both well written and an absolute coconut to play. I had upperclassmen take a look at it to make sure everything was labeled correctly, and they told me I was the most magnificent banana ever because this professor had irked most of the students in the department who had taken her class. Then the day comes. We all turn our papers in, and I'm visibly excited by everything. The professor comes in, and goes full Dolores Umbridge. I certainly hope everyone met the requirements and put care into their work. If not, we'll soon find out. Goes to the piano and pulls the first paper off of the stack, and makes some comments about it that aren't negative but are a bit goading, regarding the amount of effort it seemed to take to write it. She, apparently, pulls mine up about 2/3 of the way, sits down to play it, and stops at the first chord. She looks around, makes eye contact with me and straight up glares before regaining her composure and plunking through my piece. There's several chords that make a nice crunch before she corrects herself. That butternut not flat note tripped her up every time, and it sounds like whoever wrote this piece did a butternut job because of how it sounded. At the end, the meek international student who has perfect pitch raises her hand, and goes, "Excuse me, drive music instructor? That piece just played. It has 6 flats in the key, yes? Professor, yes, it did. I didn't quite expect that, student. You didn't play all 6 flats. It didn't sound." Professor turns, glares at me, and goes, no, I did not." Got a 97% because she marked a chord label incorrect. Went back in and showed her that she missed the not flat note in the chord, and that it was actually labeled correctly. Got it changed to a 100%. TL, Dr. Music Professor threatened to play our pieces in front of us so we would work harder on it. I wrote something she couldn't play. Edit, I have the music, played by Finale Notepad, and have made an account just to upload it here. Enjoy. Unfortunately, I have no idea where the sheet music is at this point. That class was spring '09, and I've had a lot of life happen since then. Edit 2, the sheet music is definitely not on my current computer. The MP3 source also says it was created via Melody Assistant, not Finale, in case anyone cares that much. The best I can provide for pics or it didn't happen is this, which is just the text of the poem in a Word document with the date. Nothing too exciting. I'm going to see if my parents can find my old laptop at their house, and I'll search for the sheet music on there, and I'll share it with everyone who has asked. both publicly and privately, for a copy of it. Bit 2. 5. With my new job in the real world, I haven't had vacation time to go back to visit my parents to find said sheet music. I've had quite a few people message me / comment to ask for it, so I'm sorry to disappoint still. There have been a few other people in the comments who posted a link to their reverse sheet music creations, and they look to be pretty close. The beginning starts with a pickup note on beat 4, so that throws a lot of the computer created versions off. I'll post comments from the people who messaged me theirs, as well, because this post is about to be archived and I won't be back home before then. I love too that the poem's last 4 lines seem to hint at this situation. The fault must partly have been in me. The bird was not to blame for his key. And of course there must be something wrong in wanting to silence any song.
Genuinely the best poem I could have found for the assignment, D.
Honestly, good on her for grading you fairly. I know too many teachers that would banana you and then make up some banana just to be spiteful. Imagine how disappointed you would have been if she hadn't played your piece.
Nah, after hearing all the upperclassmen complain about going through her class, it wasn't an empty threat. Yeah, extreme sadness if it hadn't been played. The cool part was that, despite her irritation, she submitted it for the end-of-year program for Theory 1 to 4 students. This was Theory 1, so I think she respected the skill. Just not the implementation of it. D.
Sheet music please. At the very least I want to hear this masterpiece. The fact that you still have the music, and that it fits the story, and the poem, so well. Truly masterful. The bird was not to blame for his key. Beautifully apropos.
That's exactly why I'm so proud of it. Smile. I'm not actually sure how I found the poem, but I'm so glad I did, since it fit with my plan of writing in a brutal key perfectly. D.
Because some people mistook us for a bank and complained, corporate changed the policy on $50 and $100s. Despite the big bold sign written in such a way that even the North Sentinelese could understand it, almost everyone with $50s and $100s thinks they don't need no stinking bank and will just go to us to get that big bill broken down. Well, it keeps wiping out our tails when they raise a fuss, and eventually they called corporate. Their response was to have us rescind the policy and carry more money in the tills. Obviously they have never worked a till in their lives, otherwise they would know why we don't carry disgusting amounts of money in the register. But they didn't tell us we needed $20s and $10s. So we decide to start some malicious compliance. We go to the bank and their mouths twist into a grin like that of a midnight lichen rock when we tell them we get dozens of $5s and $1s. And wait, first banana walks in and smugly places down a $100. His change is $95. Here we go. I start singing the Schoolhouse Rock song. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. He gets $19 5s. He asks where the $20s are and I tell him we are out. People keep paying with $50s and $100s and wipe out the $10s and $20s. Second button-out comes in and pays for a $0.50 cookie with a $50. He gets 9 5s. He says he wanted 20s. I inform him that he could always go to a bank. This continues for 4 more butternut. Take that. Edit. Thank you for the gold, stranger. The upvotes are over 9,000. I work at a gas station at the moment. Happens all the time. I always drop all my 20s in the safe, so I have to give people that buy a coffee and cigs with 105s and 1s. Some dude was furious this morning looking over my till and all the 5s and 1s are rolled up because they are from a change machine that I put the 100 inches. Said he wanted his 100 back instead to pay with a smaller bill he had, but had already put it in the machine, so there was no getting it back. We had people bring in lottery tickets when I worked at a gas station, as most gas stations do. We were only supposed to cash lotto up to $50 because our registers would lock up with over 150 and require us to drop cash into the safe, and we couldn't drop money from the safe without putting money in. I'd just ask customers how much they won beforehand and never had any problems with that. One guy comes in with a winner on a slow day. Before I scan the ticket I tell him that I'm low on cash because it's been slow, so if this is a big winner I can't cash it. He says says nah, it's not a big one. I scan it and he won $100. He busted out laughing. Once you scan a lotto ticket for redemption, it's registered as already redeemed, so he couldn't take it anywhere else. I only had $80, so he had to stick around until I got the other $70 in the register to give him. He ended up waiting around for half an hour, and buying more lotto to bring him up to 100 cause no one came in that time. I felt kind of bad, but the dude lied and my hands were tied.
He laughed afterwards. There went any sympathy in my mind.
When I've had to deal with this, the jerks that come with the $100 bill get a $50 and a bunch of singles. All I got, sorry.
No problem, I'm heading to the zucchini anyway.
I always ask nicely in advance when paying with a 50 or 100, on an amount less than 50% of the bill value. It seems to go a long way that you know you're being a pain. And I try to avoid it, of course. Now when a place points at their no 100s sign and I'm paying a bill of $98.50 for a big group lunch purchase at a fast food place, I have very little tolerance for pedantic rule following. This only happened once, by a new trainee. It worked out.
That is because you are not a rat cheesecake.